So let's get into a little bit about the Omni boom. We didn't have a whole lot of details when it passed, but Tori, you looked at it pretty closely in terms of the levels, and certainly the relatively ugly process it took to get passed.
Right, right. No, the devil's always in the details, right? When you look at the top line, the omnibus bill provides a grand total of about $1.7 trillion in discretionary appropriations for fiscal year 2023, which is already underway. We're already 3 months into 2023. So okay, so that's good. We've got we've got fiscal 23 funded. Yay. Woo. And the increase over last year on a purely top line basis is 0.7%, less than 1%. And when you're looking at 7% inflation, 6% inflation, depending upon what your number is and what statistic you look at, that's not such a bad deal. But when you sort of peel back the layers, you think of it like an onion and you look at some of the details underneath, it's actually kind of scary. Because when you take away all of the emergency and COVID spending that really sort of jacked up spending in 2022, and you take that away in 2023, well, that's why it looks like we're not spending a lot of money. When you look at the base discretionary spending levels, and these are the levels that get built into the discretionary spending baseline every year going forward, and this is by which we measure future potential deficits, future potential debt, there were huge increases in base, meaning non-emergency spending. On the defense side, 9.7% increase in defense spending. Now, I acknowledge that there's a lot of things going on in defense-related world. Number one, their number one expense in the defense budget is fuel. And gas prices, diesel prices have not been kind this year, but they are on their way down. But still, inflation of 7%, they got a 9.7% increase in the defense budget. I think part of that was to backfill what we're sending to Ukraine. Obviously, we need to backfill our own supplies here, but still 9.7% is huge. And, while I haven't really dived into any of the details yet, you got to think that there are things in there, whether it's ships, planes, helicopters, things like that the military doesn't need, but Congress decided to give them anyway, submarines, etc. So that's a concern. On the non-defense side, just the sort of family-based, if you will, side of the social spending side of discretionary spending, that was an 8% increase. On top of all the COVID money that we spent, that we distributed last year, and all these statistics that say that Americans, the reason why we're continuing to spend despite all this inflation is they're really, really flush from all this COVID money last year. We still put a honking amount of money into the non-defense discretionary budget, 8% increase over the year before. And a lot of that wasn't really based on need. It was based on a political argument between Republicans and Democrats. They have this insistence that whatever increase there is in non-defense or in defense, there has to be a parallel increase in non-defense or defense. So Democrats were insisting that, we agree the defense budget needs a 9.7% increase, but then we also want, the non-defense side to have a 9%. And there's no rationale for it. There's no policy rationale for it. There's no need. Okay. It's a want. All right. There's no distinguishing between needs or wants in this.
It's called, it's fairness or parity. I mean, it's like, I understand what you're saying. It's just kind of like this, knee-jerk reaction that defense gets more, than everything else has to get more.
Well, it's this whole childish mindset that if you're winning, I must be losing, and I don't want to lose. So I'm gonna, I want mine too.